and welcome to another California Guy video with your boy California Guy. What's up, everybody? And welcome to today's video. We have a new topic today to talk about. This is the topic on what is the difference between a coon and an educated black. That's the topic of today's video. Now, today I was listening to LA Real Game Radio, and I heard some interesting things about what is a pro-black. And I like the answer that LA and John Smith, the exchange that they had, two black men in exchange. They kind of had differences, but they both had some agreements. And they asked the question of what is pro-black. So I've done a bunch of videos on what is a pro-black, but I don't really want to retread that video. I don't want to retread my previous videos or other people's videos, but I will say this briefly before I get into my topic, is that a pro-black is what they said is a black person that celebrates their culture, defend their culture, defend their woman and their honor. It's not really a tag per se because again, I never considered actually before being on black YouTube, it was no it was just like you was Afrocentric or you love black people or I know conscious was his name and you have black nationalists. But these are pan Africanism, but at the end of the day, if you're of African descent, then you more than likely are pro-black. Doesn't matter your status, your class, or what you do. You're pro-black. I mean, not pro-black, but you're a person that loves black people. I guess that would be the term pro-black. So I guess people will call me a pro-black because I love black culture. People think that being pro-black is, bashing white people or marching in the streets with your fists. But that's what Coons think. So Coons make that up a good conversation. I did like the answer to what they said on Road Game Radio today. You guys can check it out on LA's channel. I think he streamed it. But let me move to my topic real quick though, because like I said, I've talked about that definition in the past. Now, what's the difference between a coon and a intelligent, college educated black? Now, what I'm about to say, I don't want people to make comments in my comment section, do any videos saying there are coons that are educated. Because, yes, there are educated coons, like Clarence Thomas. Um, what's his name? I know Jesse Lee don't have no education, so that's Don Lemon. People like that have are educated. Uncle Tom's. So, let me break down the difference, though. Now, if a black man or a black woman goes to college for 4 years and they achieve higher education, whether it's with a bachelor's, master's, or doctorate degree, it does not mean you're an Uncle Tom. It doesn't mean you're an Uncle Tom. If you get a job in the professional world as a white collar worker, it does not mean you are a coon. Success does not make you a sellout. So I just want to break that analogy down. Success does not equate to your ideology. Now, you have people, and it goes with even politics. Okay, you could be a liberal, but then be poor. Or you could be rich and be a liberal. You could be poor as a conservative, redneck. You could be a rich redneck. So you have different terms for classifications of different people in this country. And so that brings me back to, is a coon a sellout because he's educated? And the answer is no. Because you have coons, being an Uncle Tom is a ideology. It's the ideology. And a lot of coons that I've listened to, I've read a lot of stuff on coons over the years, Uncle Tom's, even before I came into black YouTube. Clarence Thomas, Thomas Sowell, uh, who else? The lawyer from Los Angeles, I forget his name right now. It'll come back to me in a minute. I forgot his name that quick. But a lot of them, Star Parker, a lot of them are educated individuals. But the difference is these blacks have sided with white supremacy. The rhetoric that they say is that black people are race based. They don't even say pro blacks, by the way. They didn't say black people in general. The coons basically repeat what they hear on Fox News and talk radio. And this is a practice that's been going on for more than 40 years, ever since black people really started voting, was that black people are race baiters, or black people are needy, or they need to be given things. This was started by white people. White people always looked at black people as commies. That's what the liberals. They always looked at black people per se as not be, as being un-American and commies. Even though black people have fought for this country, even though you have black people that fought in all the wars, every single war that they've had, black people have fought in. World War I, World War II, this war that we had, Afghani war, Iraqi, but need I say war, Revolutionary War. But not to move along on that. Being intelligent does not make you a coon. Being a coon is if you turn around and you start selling out and saying black people are the worst thing on the planet and white people are better. Apples and oranges. That's a Uncle Tom right there. And you can have a poor Uncle Tom. You can have an Uncle Tom that's unintelligent. Look at Jesse Lee, for example. Jesse Lee is a very ignorant nigger. He's an ignorant nigger. So the nigga is, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He looks like he drinks. He's very uneducated, and he's a carbon copy of Sean Hannity. That's what he is. He repeats stuff that he hears from his white master every day. That's Jesse Lee Peterson right there for you. Now, black people, and he trashes black people for being independent people. Now, me per se, California guy, if you're a black conservative, I respect you. If you're a black conservative or a right winger, so I have no problem with a political belief, because I think that our ancestors died in this country for us to have the right to vote and believe in what we want to believe in. So I never get the win. But I do not like a coon. Now, there's a difference between being a coon and a right winger. Because again, you have conservatives black conservatives who recognize that there's white supremacy. You do. Maybe you're conservative with money. Maybe you're a conservative when it comes to money. Look at Don King, for example. Don King is a Republican, but he's not a coon. So there's a difference right there. But just because you have an education doesn't just because you have an education does not mean that it's an ideology, because you can be pro-black and have the education and be pro-coon and have education. So there's no difference. You can have less education and be a coon still, and have high education to be a pro-black. Case in point, the Black Panthers. Black Panthers, all of them had degrees. The original Black Panthers. They had doctors. Look at Angela Davis. She's a fucking professor. So that's not true necessarily that coons have all this education and solutions. They don't. They repeat stuff that white people say on their radio shows or at work or at dinner parties. They do not have an original thought. It's just that they're black people taking up what white people say. That's basically it. If it's a black on black crime, but for years, yeah, but that's a good example real quick. Black on black crimes. Man, that's been a problem in the black community before I was born. Before I was born. And now, whenever something racist happens in this country, guess what black people say? What about black on black crime? Or you hear this from coons. If you tell a black man or a black woman that they're Uncle Tom and a coon, why are you being a coon? The first thing they tell you is go chase after white racists. So you hear little sly things like that from different blacks. And it's funny. These are actually kind of funny, snarky remarks that I hear. But, you know, they always tell us, or they'll say white supremacy. And I know it's this on black YouTube. White supremacy doesn't exist. I don't live in white supremacy. You know, you're giving white people too much props, is what you hear. So it's kind of funny when they say that. Like, black people got power in this country. It's funny stuff that when you hear it. Black people got power. When did black people... If that was the case, Zimmerman would have been locked up. So when you hear these coons talk, they're actually dumb. That's the whole purpose of this video. Coons are fucking dumb. Because the logic that they laid down in the cases that they made are weak. Now, when they say, what about black on black violence? Well, what about black on black violence? Black on black violence existed before. Why didn't you do something about it? Why don't you? And what's funny about coons is, once the race thing is over with, The white person leaves that they've been following, and then the coon leaves. But guess who's talking about black on black violence? People like myself and the pro-blacks. We talk about the pro-violence because we stay within the community. We stay in the community helping our people still. So, it's funny, and it's people that's educated even. So, just because a coon just because a coon talks doesn't mean he has an education. That's false. There was black slaves that had no education and could not read, but they were Uncle Toms. They would get other slaves in trouble. They didn't know how to read a lick. So stop that nonsense, black people, about coons being intelligent. Stop that. Stop that. Or a coon, or a black person or a coon, and say, "Well, you're jealous of me because I have education." Man, nobody gives a shit about that. Come on, you're jealous of me because I have education. Yeah, I got education too. And there's other pro blacks that got education. I got a 4-year bachelor's degree in history. So what's your point? So I did this video. Like and share. This is just a rant, people. Peace out.